How the hell did they go bankrupt? I know, they made wrestling games. That's how they went bankrupt.
Jeff.
Aha. Aha.
Jarrett.
I'm going to get you, Jeff Jarrett.
Has he actually invested in the resurgence of a double C, aha, L-I, aha, I-M, aha? That's Acclaim Entertainment.
Is it Acclaim two
is
Ks, not two Cs?
It's two Cs.
Oh, Mandela effect.
No, it's because of the logo. They've got like jagged C's.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Jeff,
Right.
I have to say, Jeff, man, I watch him. He is a worker's worker. I mean that in the most complimentary sense of the word. That Jeff can pivot. Jeff is always working on something, whether it's, good, bad, indifferent, or whatever. Jeff always has his hands on the next project to try to like pivot, reinvent himself, do whatever he can. And yeah, my text to him this morning, because once you sent this to me, I texted him right away. Let me see where it's at.
Well, you're finding it. I like how you said, he always pivots to a new business, because there was obviously TNA when he founded it with his father, Jerry. And then at some point and then it was Global Force Wrestling after he was on the outs with Impact, as it was called then. Then he pivots into being a modern day prospector with Global Force Gold. Oh, dear. But yeah, man, he is a worker. Once again, the world's greatest singer, the world's greatest entertainer, and soon to be the world's greatest Acclaim board member. Acclaim
He's one of the world's
greatest
politicians, and once again, I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah.
He is so good at politics. He's going to run for office one day. He has to. I don't see any other. He'll run for office in Nashville or Tennessee somewhere and probably win.
So between 87 and before they went bankrupt in 2004, Acclaim, man, they published a lot of titles, because I hadn't even realised, when something's so strong with nostalgia, you don't actually realise they disappeared so long ago. But yeah, 21 years after they filed bankruptcy, pretty much, they're a group of investors, including Jeff Jarrett, are reviving it for to become an independent game publisher once again. And, they're even looking at buying, or reacquiring, I should say, some of their old licenses as well. So they seem serious. But why Jeff Jarrett? Something to invest in?
They're going to bring back the old Warzone or Anarchy rules from ECW where you're standing there like this.
Oh, I hope so.
Okay. Here's my text to Jeff. I said, first you usurp me as cardio king, now video games, question mark, question mark, question mark. Seriously, this is awesome. Best of luck with it. And as a nerd, I'm happy to help. So I put that out there. Ha ha. He might be mad about that.
Did he text back?
Jeff Jarrett, a little known fact too, I witnessed it before. Got a hell of a temper. You got to stay out of his way at certain points, especially if he's got the book. I've seen him angry. It's like, no. So hopefully that didn't catch him at the wrong time. He's like, if one more person texts me about this damn video game, Stevie Richards right there. But yeah, this is great. I mean, anytime you can create games, like I said, Fire Pro Wrestling, we actually have an episode on video games, wrestling video games, two of them, best ones. Fire Pro Wrestling, two of them. Fire Pro Wrestling, WWF No Mercy. By the way, I got some mods from RGT85, excuse me, one of the video game creators, for different rings, different sets, different entrances for the Steam Deck. So I'm going to put it on there and try it out. I might put it up on Patreon. So all these games, these independent games, I mentioned No Mercy, but really Fire Pro, Retromania Wrestling, and now Acclaim, bringing up different stuff and maybe resurging old video games or putting new coats of paint on them. That's awesome. I would love to see classic wrestling come back. A lot of people talking about they could bring back a classic type of wrestling game and sign a lot of names.
Yeah, as long as it's not Legends of Wrestling again. Anyway,
there were two
before
of them,
that,
right?
I want to give you
Weren't
the
there
quote.
Two of them?
Three of them. There were three. Oh, my goodness. Right, I'm going to give you the quote. For more than 3 decades, this is Jeff Jarrett's official quote on becoming a board member with Acclaim. I've had the privilege to have been a part of both the wrestling and gaming universes, and I'm thrilled to now be a partner in the revival of Acclaim, an iconic publisher known for releasing some of the most legendary games of the 80s and 90s, Jarrett said. From my early involvement with the publisher's hit 16-bit WWF... Early involvement? What did he do? Anyway, titles to my experience.
Man.
He probably
He's a worker.
Jesus. Helping shape the TNA wrestling series. I wouldn't admit that publicly if you're talking about the game series, which spawned the first video game wrestler to become a full-time roster member, which was Suicide,
yes,
wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
In the squared circle, I've seen firsthand the type of impact great games can have on players and fans. Resurrecting Acclaim is an opportunity to impart the same degree of passion and love to a new generation that are excited to be involved. I like impact great games can have on players. He didn't mention the shitty games that can also have an impact on some wrestling territories as well, including TNA and AEW. But there you go.
Those are all good points. But Jeff can sell things. He is a worker. He is a salesman. He is a charming dude, and he's smart. He understands business. He really does, and he also understands, much like with TNA, that this thing is not going to survive unless we get an investor, which was Dixie Carter. He knows enough to keep the business going. He learned that from his dad, Jeff Jarrett, one of the greatest wrestling promoters in history. As far as video games, I think the first TNA game was pretty decent. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I bought it to support my...
I like the graphics.
Yeah.
I thought the graphics are really ahead of the time. I didn't think the gameplay, and I thought it was a bit limited.
Well, it's hard to get. I mean, you can see with the AEW game, for some reason, even with Madden and other games, why they cannot get the collision detection, like, fixed. That's something that's really weird. Right? You need to fix that before you start releasing $70 and $80 games. And that's a point I want to make to Jeff right here. I think the success of whatever games you and Acclaim are going to publish, dude, if you can make these games $30 to $40 or even go for the jugular and get the volume for a $20 game or a $25 game, people will buy it just on curiosity alone. You put a 50, 60, 70, and now they have $80 games out. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Say, and the rest. Have you seen all these like special editions? Even WWA 2K25. I mean, it was £110 over here, so $120, $130, I guess, for you guys. Let me give you some of the original games that Acclaim were well known for back in the day. NBA Jam. He's on fire!
Greatest game they ever made, I think.
Probably. Super Smash TV, one of my favourites. I'll buy that for $1. Mortal Kombat, when it was good. I love the old 2D ones. Anything 4 and beyond can just go away. Trilogy's the peak, and loads of people argue with me that 2 is. Turok. I never played the Turok series.
The Dinosaur Hunter. Yes, on N64. Dude, they have I'm thinking I have to rethink it. NBA Jam is probably the easiest fun pick up and play that they have, but man, they've made a lot. How the hell did they go bankrupt? I know they made wrestling games. That's how they went bankrupt.
Oh, no, they made wrestling games from the 80s. No, yeah, from the 80s, and then LJN did, and then they bought out LGN, but we're going to be talking about that as well in a second. The Burnout series, which I also never played. I love
Burnout. I actually have it on the Steam Deck. Burnout Paradise is one of the greatest games. Paradise, I believe, was the one where you try to crash and create the most amount of damage with your car. Just like one of those fun demo.
Like Twisted Metal.
Yeah, but you would just go in and try to cause the most amount of like damage to all the cars and trucks around you. Really great game.
So you can tell me if this was good. NFL Quarterback Club?
Yes, it was. Yeah, the Quarterback Club competition, for its time to do the competitions, the accuracy, and they had a game within that. So definitely a good game.
Dave Mirra BMX. They had 2 games. Loved them both. 2 was great. I don't know if you ever played them. And then they did a third one, which was BMX XXX, which they just had to just replace Dave Mirra with.
That was when everybody was doing extreme games of everything, right?
Yeah, almost like what was it? Something Larry. What's the mobile game for Larry?
Leisure Suit Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah. Bust a Move, which I played a little bit of, sort of a Tetris kind of thing, I guess, or almost like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
I do remember the game.
Whatever it is. Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive was underrated. That was like a,
Hmm?
that was like a graphically upgraded Street Fighter.
I like Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good game. Numerous Simpsons games, which, as big of a Simpsons fan as I am, never played any of them. Never owned
You
any
never
Simpsons
played Hit
game.
and Run?
Never played Hit and Run.
Oh my God. They want to remake that game so bad. Maybe Acclaim's going to do it.
And then they had a load of like
Jeff
Hollywood
Jarrett's
film.
going to replace Homer Simpson. He'll get his stuff in.
The next one is a bunch of Hollywood film properties like Terminator 2, Alien, Predator, Demolition Man as well, that I didn't even realize it was a game.
Great movie.
Yeah. Oh, it was a good film. Terminator 2, apart from the fact it's a great film, I seem to remember quite enjoying that as a kid as well, the game. Crazy Taxi, which is brilliant.
Yes. Sega Dreamcast, excuse me. That was one of the best titles for Dreamcast. Did they make Batman, the side-scrolling Batman games? I believe they did.
I don't know. While I give you more information then, apart from the fact that it's got the greatest soundtrack in the world, just because it's like 4 Offspring songs in a loop, Crazy Taxi. That's, apart from darts, that's pretty much all me and my friends played in Japan last year when we went, because they've got Crazy Taxis everywhere. And they've got them in Manchester as well, you know, the original arcades with the pedals and everything. Love Crazy Taxi. And of course, a bunch of wrestling games, which I'm going to give you a few. I think they did 14 titles, or near enough. WWF licensed games from Acclaim, or under the LJN banner when they bought out LJN, but they kept the name for a few more years. Include WWF WrestleMania, WrestleMania Challenge, Superstars, Steel Cage Challenge, Royal Rumble, Raw, In Your House, which was that weird Mortal Kombat crossover with Midway, I guess, I think. And in the late 90s, Warzone and Attitude. Any of those you want to pick to write a love letter to, or an audible love letter, I guess?
Did Warzone come before Attitude?
Warzone first, Attitude
I'm
second.
telling you, Warzone, we make a silly thing about the guys doing this and everything. Graphically, this was a big jump from those In Your House, Royal Rumble, the WrestleMania game. The only game that came close to being a full, like almost 3D game was WrestleFest, which was an arcade game. But Warzone was definitely a jump, and where it was like, oh my God, they're not just like Fire Pro, little 8-bit sprite characters. They're big. Like, did they do scans? Like you look back on it, you're like, man, it's so rudimentary. But Turok had that kind of feel to it. But yeah, Warzone was definitely the jump that made wrestling games be taken more seriously, in my opinion.
And it wasn't even that good.
No.
But I played the crap out of that. And like, you'd like really, when you do the solo campaign, right?
Like a career mode type thing, yeah.
Yeah, career mode kind of. You basically just wrestle the same 15 other people on the roster, and they'd all have the promos. And
Ahmed
they'd have like
Johnson,
2 or 3
you're
each.
going to mention Ahmed?
It's not even that, right? It's because someone recorded it without a microphone, basically. So they're in like a echoey room with a green screen, and you can't understand what any of them say, but especially Per Whipple Powerhouse Ahmed Johnson, whatever he's saying.
They left that in there
brilliant.
as a rib. I'm convinced. We have to ask Jeff about that. They left that in there deliberately to show that he could not cut a promo. Didn't WCW do like pick me, but the same exact audio is like really crappy? Was it Thunder?
Oh no, the audio was well better.
Yeah,
well
but not
better.
great. But not great.
Oh yeah, there's certain ones where you can hear people milling around in the background because they just film. Apparently, I asked Alex Wright maybe, and they filmed it at the power plant.
So the acoustics were awful. They didn't go into a room. Yeah,
they filmed it at the power plant. But I think they probably, for the bigger stars, they probably did like some on location where Thunder or Nitro were.
Because that's the only time you're going to get access to them anyway, not at the power plant.
Yeah. Then Acclaim, after they lost the WWF license, ended up buying the ECW license and basically did 2 reskins of Attitude, of Anarchy Rules, and that was the second one, and then Hardcore Revolution was the first one. But the thing was, like a year or 2 had gone by, and that was old hat. Straight, like the Attitude model was just compared to No Mercy, and then the first SmackDown games, and then Warzone and Attitude, that engine just looked like crap. And they were really horribly reviewed as well. And as far as I can remember, I don't know if I think I've asked somebody who was in the game, like, do you remember doing the voiceovers? And they said, yeah, we were just
Yeah,
dicking
Danny
around the
Doring
entire
told me
time.
about that. They were just making all these sounds,
Yeah.
like, you know, like being, they're just like, because everything was going out of business. They think even ECW was on the skids at this point. They were just like, we're just entertaining ourselves with this stuff.
Yeah.
Doring specifically told me that. You got to interview Danny Doring sometime. It's like, he's awesome.
And then when ECW went belly up, not entirely, not because of Acclaim, because apparently they were withholding royalties because they saw that ECW was on the outs, so they thought, well, we might as well just not pay you, and then you can claim back in bankruptcy court or something, I don't know. But they didn't pay him on time. So after ECW went under, then they started coming out with their own franchise called Legends of Wrestling. Man, what a terrible pack of games they were. Hated all three of them. And they had some great rosters. The first one, not so much. I think the third one had an unbelievable roster. Your Hogan's, Ultimate Warriors, your Jake the Snakes, Randy Savage. You had all the classics on that crappy engine.
How could they be pretty much the cat's meow when it comes to video games, and then they become this? Like the downward trend was going on for years with Acclaim. How could you lose that when you had so much of a resume, where when maybe they were just getting lazy or they didn't have the money to get a brand new engine or create a new engine because WWE want the ukes because they were using a New Japan engine from those games. And it was just weird how Acclaim just, do you think they just got lazy or they were just resting on their laurels a little bit too much?
Who knows? I don't know. It'd be great to talk to someone from Acclaim and get their perspective on it. So if anyone knows anyone from Acclaim, write in, I guess. Let me just give you some of these. In fact, I never do this. I'm going to switch my scene. Right, you can't see this.
Can I bring one
Stevie,
thing up? I'm going to
Yeah.
message to Jeff Jarrett. Please, just as a rib to Triple H, put out a memo that Jeff Jarrett cannot ever be shown in a vulnerable position in any of the Acclaim games. Yes. Yes. Ha ha.
In Turok, it's Jeff Jarrett in Turok. He cannot look. He cannot look vulnerable to any dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he hits the dinosaur with the guitar shot.
That's what you should
slap
do.
Next one. Slap Nutsosaurus.
A wild Slapnuts appeared. Why is that got such a meme? Just because someone was a Pokemon fan and just said a wild Slapnuts appeared, and now that's just a thing for decades now, which I'm fully involved with. Right, let me show you this. You'll just have to take my word, but everyone else can see. Andre the Giant, Bam Bam Bigelow, Bobby the Brain, Bret Hart, the British Bulldog, Bruno Sammartino, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, DDP, Don Morocco, Dusty Rhodes, Dynamite Kid, Eddie Guerrero. I'm just reading Hulk Hogan, for goodness sake, Harley Race, Jim Duggan. These are on the third Showdown Legends of Wrestling. Jerry Lawler, Jake the Snake, Jimmy Hart, Jimmy Snooker, Kerry Von Erich. There's tons of them. The Nasty Boys, goodness me.
That's like more than the WWE games have, even with DLC.
Yeah. Yeah, Randy Savage, the Legion of Doom, the Steiner brothers, or at least Rick Steiner. The Rock and Roll Express, Roddy Piper, Sabu, Scott... Oh, God, there's more. Sid Vicious, Sting, Superstar.
But pretty much everybody
Billy
in the
Graham.
business from every company.
Yeah. Thing is, at some point, WWE, like probably around the time of Here Comes the Pain, started getting wise and started introducing the odd legend in as well with the regular mob of people they had under contract. And now they put so many people in every single game. It's like a roster of like 180 odd, which is ridiculous. And like 60 of them are legends. So it's great that loads of people are still getting a paycheck, I guess. But they probably saw Showdown Legends of Wrestling and saw, well, it must be selling decently with all these faces on it. Whereas it'd be so much easier for just us to just give them a bit of a royalty, have them on ours.
Yeah, I think that's
and sell so many more copies.
It's a win-win for everybody when you do that, because the wrestlers don't have to do anything. They get a royalty check, and you have all these different things from, you can actually get them bookings and signings. So there's more, and I've never seen Acclaim do that. Like WrestleMania put me out on an autograph signing on an appearance at convention. We were going to do more with that. But that's the fun part, when you get to promote the game. But it didn't seem like any of these people were doing conventions, autograph signings, or dedicated booths to the game. So I don't know. WWE's way better at that than anybody.